Have you ever felt like you were dimming your own light just to fit in? And what if the very act of conforming, of blending into the crowd, is actively stifling your unique genius and your authentic essence? In this video, we are going to dive into the radical ideas of Friedrich Nietzsche to reveal how social pressures are silently eroding your inner brilliance and, more importantly, how you can reclaim it. We live in an age where spirituality and the awakening of consciousness have become acts of resistance. In a world that demands conformity, seeking one's own truth is a lonely but necessary journey. As we examine the concept of herd mentality, we uncover how social conformity stifles individual genius. We will investigate the pressures that erode your light, revealing paths to reclaim your personal sovereignty and intellectual independence. This is an invitation for your personal development and for the spiritual awakening your soul so deeply craves. And to take the first step on this journey, we need to look at where we are standing right now. Because, at this very moment, in the heart of the digital age, and to take the first step on this journey, we need to look at where we are standing right now. Because, at this very moment, in the heart of the digital age, are we truly thinking for ourselves or just repeating outside voices? Look around you. Social media feeds are mirrors of an insidious groupthink. It is easy to be swept away by the current without realizing we have lost the helm of our own lives. The German philosopher already warned us that these pressures are not new, but an ancient force of human nature. Carl Jung would complement this idea by saying that, when we try to be like everyone else, we push our uniqueness into the shadow, living only on the surface. Presence is the first step toward noticing these currents. When you grow quiet, you realize that much of what you call I is just the echo of the herd in your mind. It is easy to be swept away by the current without realizing we have lost the helm of our own lives. And this feeling of being lost in the crowd is not a new phenomenon. In fact, it is the reflection of a profound warning left by Friedrich Nietzsche, which gains even more strength when we understand what Carl Jung called our shadow. Nietzsche described the herd mentality as a collective attachment to comfort at the expense of individual brilliance. For the herd, safety is more important than truth. Therefore, it suppresses unique perspectives, viewing genius as a threat. This suppression causes the crushing of the inner light. As Rumi said, "Do not be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth." For the thinker of overcoming, dependence on others' approval is a weakness of the slave spirit, which defines its value by external standards. When we seek validation outside, we hand over the key to our happiness to those who do not know us. The herd wants you to be predictable, but your soul seeks expansion. But how does this invisible weight shape your practical choices, day to day, without you even noticing? The answer lies in a subtle dynamic the philosopher called the psychology of vanity. The ruling class of public opinion stifles you in everyday choices, in your career or in the aspirations you have repressed for fear of judgment. The impact is devastating: anxiety and a sense of inauthenticity. In his monumental work, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche describes the vain person as someone who waits for others to have a good opinion of them so they can then believe in themselves. It is a cycle where you become a stranger to yourself. But as Jung teaches, individuation requires you to integrate your shadow and accept being different to become whole. Emotional healing begins when you stop asking for permission to be who you are. Emotional healing begins when you accept that you do not need the world's permission to be who you are. If you recognize this weariness in your soul, know that it is the preface to your liberation, the sign that it is time to walk what Nietzsche presents as the path of self-overcoming. How do you regain control? Nietzsche introduces us to self-overcoming, the challenge of forging your own values. He argued that the individual must become who they are, become who you are, through Amor-fati. This requires an internal compass and learning to listen to intuition over the noise. Practicing intellectual independence involves accepting the discomfort of thinking differently. Remember Rumi, there is a morning inside you waiting to burst open into light. To shine, you must be willing to walk the road less traveled, knowing that true fulfillment lies outside the tracks of mediocrity. Inner transformation is a rhythm of unlearning. Inner transformation is not an event, it is a natural rhythm of unlearning. By embracing this process, you stop being just an echo and become a voice of your own, because, throughout history, humanity's great milestones were never written by those who followed the herd. The individuals who changed the world were those who challenged the majority to follow their internal vision. They didn't wait for approval, they became the light itself. Nietzsche's legacy reminds us that recognizing the herd's influence and resisting conformity is the journey to liberating your incomparable genius. You are not broken for feeling out of place. You are in transition. All healing begins with the acceptance of what hurts, and the pain of inauthenticity is the invitation to your awakening. The universe listens to you when you finally learn to listen to yourself. All healing begins with the invitation to your spiritual awakening. And so that these truths stop being just concepts and become a living experience, I invite you now to silence the world around you for a brief moment. We have reached the moment to silence the external world and hear the pulse of your own truth. Nietzsche taught us that life is a constant process of creation. I invite you to a small exercise in perception. Wherever you are, take a deep breath. Imagine that, in the center of your chest, there is a small flame that represents your unique genius. For a moment, visualize all outside expectations and social pressures as a cold mist trying to extinguish this flame. Now, with your conscious will, see this flame growing, warming, and dissipating all the mist around you. Feel the sovereignty of being the sole owner of your inner fire. And what if the disapproval you fear so much is actually the sign that you have finally found your authentic path? If these words touched something inside you, perhaps it is time to take one more step on this path of reconnecting with your inner truth. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue receiving content that nourishes the soul with presence and authenticity. Share in the comments what resonated with your heart. Your story might be the mirror someone else needed to find. If you are looking for a safe haven, know that our community is the sanctuary where fertile silence is shared and deepened. Enjoy the channel's posts. And to keep expanding this field of presence, we suggest the video pinned in the card. May it be a source of inspiration on your journey. Peace and light.